And then the AFC South is another toss up. I'm like, holy crap, I have no idea.
That one I feel pretty confident in my pick on that one. Yeah, it's because it's dog shit and dog shit. All right, welcome one and all to the SVT Sports Podcast. I'm in the driver's seat. My name is Vince. I'm hanging out with Sam, and today in for Tyler, we have Daniel. How's it going, fellas?
What's up?
What up? What up? What up?
And of
How are you
course,
guys?
on the ones and twos, we have Timmy.
What's going on?
I'm good. I cut you off there, Sam, a little bit. I'm doing good. We just had our fantasy draft, so I'm feeling pretty good about my team. You know, roster
I'm
beating
not.
a couple times.
You're not.
Bro, I am in love with my fantasy team. I just had
I picked last.
Yeah,
Oh,
I picked
defending
second
champ?
to last.
So I get the last pick of the first round, the first pick of the second round, and then
And
I'm in the
I was
worst
ninth.
spot.
I was ninth, so I was literally picking, like, I was bracketing Sam the entire time.
I was fifth. So who? All right, who was your first round pick?
I forget.
Mine was with the fifth pick. I took Jamar Chase.
That ain't bad
That's not bad. How
That's-
Jamar falling
because
to
he's
five,
like
that's
top
pretty
three.
good.
Yeah, he's like top
Yeah,
three.
that's pretty good. Yeah. I'm actually gonna look it up right now because it's really important to know. I think I picked. Yeah, it was Steph Diggs
Ooh, good one.
yeah,
Good one. What about you, Sam?
from the 9.
Oh, it's embarrassing.
What was your number? Who was that?
I don't even remember. I have
Let's
to get
see.
my phone.
Yeah.
This
This is enthralling. I'm sure.
Great
you
radio.
You had Tony Pollard, and then went with Devontae Smith right after.
Yeah,
I went what's his name? So I went Jamar Chase and Tyreek Hill slipped to me.
Oh man. So then I followed that up with Bijan Robinson in the second round. So that was, off to a strong start. Then I get Jalen Waddle, and I'm trusting the rookies. I'm going Jahmyr Gibbs in the fourth. So 2 rookie running backs. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be scary.
I don't think I have any rookies on my roster this year. I normally do. I normally try to find a keeper because the way our league works is that you can have a keeper if you drafted him after the 9th round, but you have to draft them 2 rounds prior to where you pick them up the next year. So I've had Justin Herbert for the last 4 years, and I drafted him in the 13th this year.
Okay, that's wild. That's interesting.
Yeah,
we don't really do keepers with ours. We just refresh, let everybody start clean slate. It's a lot of fun though. I think it's about time though. We've been talking fantasy for just a hot second. Let's talk real football. Preseason week 3 has ended. Daniel, Sam, you're both Raiders fans. What did you think about the last Raiders game?
I'll go first.
please.
The offense I thought still looks really good. I'm impressed with what Aiden O'Connell is doing. So that's still all pluses. I think defensively was the first time this preseason that you kind of got flashbacks of last season. And, you got this guy Greer announced that he's going to get cut and then just comes in like Baker Mayfield off the airplane and just throwing touchdowns, running for touchdowns. So it's the collapsing, and just those types of situations was the most concerning thing. I do think the defense is better, but going from 31 to 28, 25, or are we going to see for this team to be competitive and have a shot, you got to be in the top 15. You got to have a top 15 defense. And I'm saying that's because I think they're going to have a top 5 offense. I think offensively, they're probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I think, and I mean, I don't know about you, Sam, but when I first saw Aiden O'Connell, I'm like, is that Derek Carr? What the fuck is he doing back out on the field? Dude looks exactly like DC, bro. And
all he's missing is the eye
black
eyeliner.
Yeah,
eyeliner. Yeah.
But no, man, I've been very impressed with Aiden. I'm very happy that we picked him up and where we picked him up. But to your point, I still worry about our defense. Our secondary it's very hit and miss, and that's what's always been our Achilles heel has been our secondary. So I'm hoping that this turns around, that they figure something out that we don't see, that we don't know yet. But overall, I'm very happy to hear that Jacobs is coming back. It's a 1 year, $12 million deal. It's you need a guy like Josh in the backfield, bro, especially for somebody like Jimmy who doesn't have the greatest arm in the world, but it'll definitely open up the field for him a lot more.
Right. I think what they're
Right.
hoping for on the defensive side of the ball is we got to see a little bit of their first round draft pick. David, was it Tyree? David Tyree.
David Tyree.
He looked really good in the limited play that he had. There was a great conversation on air about Max Crosby, kind of talking about when he got to the Raiders, there wasn't really a guy for him on the defense to really learn from. There wasn't a veteran, all pro veteran teaching him the ropes. And he takes a lot of pride in teaching, and so does Chandler Jones, in teaching the next generation of young guys on how to be a pro. Chandler Jones didn't have his best year last year. We all know that. We expected more. We expect a bounce back year. He has to have a big year this year.
He will.
And I think he will. But his conditioning is, second to none. Like Chandler Jones keeps his body in very good shape. Even though the numbers didn't show it last year, he's in good shape. Max Crosby, you look at his rookie card to right now, his body is completely different. And if you don't know the Max Crosby story, check that out. It's an inspirational story. So I think what they're hoping for is they got 3 guys that can get after the quarterback. It kind of reminds me what the 49ers built with their defense was they had a really weak secondary. And what did they do? They loaded up on getting after the quarterback. So I think what they're trying to do is improve that front 7 to create more opportunities for the secondary to just go up and get a ball. And I think you are going to see improvement. I think the secondary is improved from last season. But again, is it going to move? Is it going to improve 3 to 4 spots, 5 spots? That's not going to do it. You got to really, move up half. And
right.
that's a scary prediction from a last place defense to a top 15 defense.
That's a huge jump, dude.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, could they get away with the 20th ranked defense? Do you think they could sneak into the playoffs as the 20th? Is the offense good enough to overcome that? Do you think they're that good on offense to overcome a 20th? Or
I mean, if you have like a ground and pound offense that keeps the opposing quarterback off the field for long periods of time, because I mean, I don't remember the exact opponent, but I remember somebody was playing against the Patriots, and it was like in the heydays of Brady, being Brady, and they just ran the ball down the opposing team's throat and just kept them off the field, just kept on converting first downs and killed the clock as much as they could. Because what's the best way to neutralize a strong quarterback? Keep them on the sideline.
Yeah. I do think they're gonna bringing back Josh Jacobs and having Zamir White. They're gonna have the ability to run the ball. So if they have the lead, they're gonna grind.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna grind, and they're gonna have a quarterback like Jimmy G. And we've seen what Aiden O'Connell can do. They're gonna hit the open man. It reminds you a lot of what the Patriots did. And like what's interesting about the Josh McDaniels offense, I really don't find it that much different than what the John Gruden offense was doing. Obviously, maybe the language and verbiage is different, but in concept, they're the same. Old school football. They're one of the few offenses that still had a fullback, uses the tight end a lot as a blocker or catcher or a hybrid or 2 tight ends. Like they both did the same thing. It's both like just good old football.
Knock on wood if you're with me.
But it's like the it's old school football, it's throwback football. I just think with Josh McDaniels, it was executed probably better. Sometimes I didn't agree a lot with the play calling of what the Gruden era did. And that was good Gruden when, the winning seasons. And it's also this 2.0 Gruden where I'm like, man, dude, like that's the worst call. Like that was terrible. But anyway, I do think this Raiders team is overall improved after seeing them in the preseason. I think Daniel and I have both been pretty critical of the Raiders and McDaniels, and I'm not apologizing for it. I'm not taking it back. That still stands. It looks like they've improved, but until we see it in action, I think what I'm expecting, I still expect this team, it should be a 10-win team. I see 9 or 10 wins that you have to get, because if you have, like in Vince's scenario, if your defense moves up to 20 and you have, what we expect to have a pretty good offense, you got to win some games. You were so close last year. You were basically a 10-win team, and your defense gave away those losses. What, 5?
Yep.
5 losses that were come from behind games that they gave up. So
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, you got to turn around those.
you flip those
losses,
games, you're a
yeah.
10-win team.
Yeah,
With,
I mean,
with
you
the
flip.
quarterback who you said couldn't hang,
Mhm.
So 10 wins. I don't know. What do you think, Daniel?
9 or 10 is kind of like where I'm at too. And I mean, they have like I mean, we have Devontae, we have Jacoby Myers, we have Hunter Renfro, we have Jacobs back. I don't see any reason why we can't, take over this division. I mean, the obviously the X factor is how we're gonna play against, our division, how we're gonna play against the Chiefs specifically.
Yeah.
Because we know there are times when we play up against Kansas City, and then there are times when the Raiders just play like the worst team in football against Kansas City. Like Mahomes just tears them apart.
Right.
I want to I would not mind if the 2 games we play against Kansas City are like that close game winner on that Thursday night football where where Carlson had like 3 chances at the extra point because of penalties and they wound up winning at the end.
I do want in closing, Vince, on the Raiders. I know we got to move on, but
Yeah.
I do find that there's going to be a lot of Raider fans and 49er fans like celebrating when Jimmy G's not playing, because we all want to see Aiden O'Connell.
I do.
And the 49er fans are like, yeah, we witnessed that. It led to, Brock Purdy or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna see some Raiders plays, and I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah.
That's bad, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Or hey, oh yeah, that guy, that was good, Jimmy.
Yeah. Or there's injured Jimmy.
Yeah, there it is.
Vince is gonna be that. He's gonna be that Franco meme first time.
Yeah. First time.
Yeah. Buster Scruggs first
Yep.
time.
First time.
Oh man.
All right,
That's
Vince, get
a
us
good
back
call.
on track.
All right, so now we're just going to talk real quickly about the Niners. The last game didn't really matter because the big breaking news right before the games happened a couple hours ahead of time, Trey Lance gets shipped off to Dallas. I officially am holding this L for me because I was one of the Trey Lance truthers, and he never got his chance. And when he finally did get his chance to start, there was the one game was in a monsoon, and then he broke his leg and he couldn't play again. And then Jimmy took over. Then Jimmy ended up getting hurt because Jimmy Garoppolo. And then we see Brock Purdy emerge, and Brock Purdy just never gave the job back. And Trey couldn't even get past Sam Darnold on the depth chart. I think he was actually probably going to be below Brandon Allen. If draft capital and if they were going to keep 4 quarterbacks, I mean, nobody's going to do that, but I think Brandon Allen outplayed him, to be honest, too, like in the preseason. So it doesn't really surprise me that he found his way at the bottom of the depth chart. And what actually kind of did surprise me was everybody else, like there was about 5 teams interested in Trey, for like a 5th or a 6th rounder. Jerry fucking Jones comes over the top and says, we'll give you a 4th rounder for him. And I don't know what Jerry's thinking. Maybe he's hoping budget Trey Lance can force Dak Prescott to take a cheaper contract to stick around after this year or whatever. I don't know. I don't know the contract situation exactly over there, but there's I honestly I'm disappointed that Trey couldn't earn his way onto the field is really what it comes down to. And I had high hopes, but they're all dashed on the pavement now, and it's like a watermelon dropped from like 10 stories up. It's just splattered, and
Yeah,
that's how it's feeling now.
I think
go ahead, Daniel. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't think the San Francisco Brass just gave him enough of a chance. Like, I understand you see him every day in practice, but 8 games, that's not a big enough sample size to like make a strong evaluation on a player. I mean, just imagine if the Colts had only given Peyton Manning 8 games to prove himself and decided, you know what, man, let's just throw him away. And then somebody else gets the Peyton Manning that we all got. Can you imagine that, dude? Like, I honestly don't think San Francisco gave him a fair enough shot. Like, and like I said, I get it. They see him every single day in practice. They see him do the reps. They see him do XYZ, but he's still a young kid. Like, he's still learning how to be
so young.
He's still learning how to be a pro. Like,
I mean, his career's not over yet by any means, but he's gonna get a fresh start in Dallas. And the fact that they traded him to Dallas, I mean, to me, that tells me that they just don't think it's gonna happen. It sounded like they liked Trey, the human being, a lot more than they like Trey, the football player, the quarterback at this point. Just based on the reaction and how it all ended up going down. And you send him to a team that I've hated since 1971.
I was just about to say that. I was about to say, didn't you just trade him to like your sworn rival from the 90s?
Sworn enemy. Yeah,
dude.
I mean, God, that. So obviously, I hope Trey figures it out, and he figures it out for a team that's not Dallas. So that would be extra good for me, just emotionally. But also, it just who ends up, who ends up on the worst end of this? Is it the 2021 49ers for trading all of that away to get like all those picks in draft, equity to get Trey? Or is it the 2023 49ers who gave up on Trey and he ends up going somewhere else that values mobile quarterbacks, and he somehow figures it out and maybe starts playing, quality football like in like a year or two? I don't know.
I think both.
If what I'm hoping to happen is Trey Lance becomes successful wherever, right? He just becomes a successful quarterback. And the reason why, not just for his career, that, I was actually really excited that the 49ers drafted him. I'm on the side of like, Purdy just looks like the guy that you got to roll with, unfortunately, because he looks like he fits what Kyle wants to do. And I don't think that's necessarily an indictment on Lance. I just think like he has a different physical skill set. His game is kind of built for I'll say a modern era game. He's not really a pass first guy, but that doesn't mean he can't grow into passing. We've seen guys, be able to run. He has a cannon for an arm. I just think, there's some other things that he needs to work on. And I hope he's successful for his own personal career, but also for Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. You hope that they identified a talent. Like, that's the thing, is that maybe they got the timeline wrong. That's okay. Like, we thought he was going to be really good in year 2 or 3, and it didn't work out that way. But he ended up getting good in, let's say, year 3, 4, or 5. Like, he becomes really good. Like, you hope
he's on the Geno Smith track, maybe.
The evaluation is
that's a good metaphor right
you
there.
want the evaluation to be like, no, we identified a good quarterback. It's just, unfortunately, a monsoon, injuries derailed that plan. We ended up, rolling.
We found gold.
We found gold
last pick of the draft.
Exactly. Yeah. We have this crazy, strange circumstance. It's perfect. Our championship window is now. Hopefully the 49ers win one this year or next year. And then 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you're like, damn, Trey Lance is really good. And the 49ers and Shanahan can kind of say, we knew it was coming. We knew it was there. Unfortunately, we were in a 2-year window to get a ring or two, so that's what I hope happens. But I hate to say it, is what I think is going to happen is he's probably not going to achieve what the expectations that we fringe fandom media, put on him. I don't think he's going to achieve that, which is also questioning Kyle Shanahan and Lynch's drafting. And what did, that's a concern because there's other draft picks, not just Trey Lance. They missed on a lot of first rounders.
Yeah. They they do pretty good, like deeper work, like the later draft picks. They seem to work out pretty well. George Kittle was a 5th rounder. I mean, uh, how we talk about our quarterback, fucking Brock Purdy, man.
Mr.
He
Irrelevant.
dead last, Mr. Irrelevant. But yeah, like those early round picks have been a lot of misses, and it's a little bit frustrating to just like you got to hit on those top picks, man. So maybe in the end, it doesn't matter that they traded away a couple of extra firsts because they would have missed on it anyway.
Vince,
So whatever.
Vince, I
It's
heard
fine.
this. I heard this on the radio today. Jeff Garcia on this team with this defense.
God. I mean, he was already a Pro Bowler,
That's
like
what I'm
3
saying.
times.
Like
Yep.
if you have Jeff Garcia on this defense,
Yeah, peak Jeff Garcia on this defense, he might get a chip. He might get a chip or two.
That's what
He
that's
probably
what people
does.
were saying. Is
Yeah,
if
we're talking
if
Hall
Purdy-
of Famer at that point.
Purdy's Jeff, because what Garcia had 3, 4, 5 years, something like that.
He was on the Niners for like 5 years or so. Like,
But they were. It was a good run.
Yeah.
He put at the time 49ers. He's no Steve Young. But
Yeah.
I mean, back-to-back Hall of Famers. The bar is high. In retrospect, like you're taking
Garcia's
Jeff
pretty
Garcia
good.
right now.
He ended up having a pretty good career. He ended up in Philly and made a Pro Bowl again.
Yeah.
I mean, and then
But if you get a 5-year run of Jeff Garcia with this defense and this offensive weapon and head coaching,
the year 2000 to the year 2002, Jeff Garcia, like that time. I mean, he had Terrell Owens to throw the ball to, so let's at least
who could still
vouch
play.
that. But yeah, who could still play if you ask T.O.
I just found that an interesting comment from 49er fans because I thought the same thing. And Purdy, he fits the offense perfect. Hit the open man. He calls the plays. It comes out. They look efficient. Like he just looks the part for this team.
Honestly, I think what it was is that Purdy played relaxed. He's like, you know what? Who are you guys going to replace me with? Some other free agent quarterback off the street?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what it was. It was timing, number one. And number two, Purdy just played relaxed. Like, he just was out there to have fun, to play. Like, and
no pressure at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's what, and kind of to your point earlier about how the Niners are like missing on their earlier picks. Is it that they're missing on the earlier picks, or are the players like getting in their heads like, I'm a first rounder, I'm supposed to be at this level, and they start like mind fucking themselves in a sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, and maybe if they need to dig deeper, I guess, on the mental aspect. Just like find more mentally tough people. Maybe I don't know.
Going back to the point of like you hope your franchise identifies good talent. Like the Raiders took Arden Key and Clee Farrell. Yep. And when they left the Raiders, they were both considered duds. Like, and the 49ers picked them both up, and all of a sudden they look competent. So
look at me now, Dad.
Honestly,
now,
like
Dad.
Arden Key is now in Jacksonville, I believe.
Yeah.
He did 1 year in SF, got a better deal in Jacksonville. He looks good. He looks like a solid pro. And now you're kind of seeing the same thing with Clee Farrell. I hope they're good, because even though Mike Mayock and Gruden are not here, you hope that they drafted guys with talent. You hope the evaluation was right, and it looks like maybe the Raiders gave up on those guys a little too soon. But they look like good pros, and I think that's what we want with the 49ers. And they hit on the later picks, so you hope that maybe going forward they can hit on some first round picks, because imagine if you hit,
when they get first round picks again in like 2026.
Right.
What was Nick? Nick was a Nick
Bosa was a first round pick. He was like number 2 overall. So that's a hit.
That's definitely a hit.
Yeah.
And what's the latest with his deal? Do you know that?
He still is not in camp yet. I think they're probably waiting till cut down day, and then they can figure out exactly how much money on top to give him what he deserves, because I think they want to make him, they have to, make him the richest, contract in defensive lineman history or something like that. He's absolutely earned that at this point. So I think it's just a question of like who they cut to, and who's still on the team, what sort of cap space you have at that point to make that happen, and by how much,
Because cut days tomorrow's at 4 p.m.
Tuesday,
Eastern, right?
Yeah. So Tuesday, right around lunchtime, 1 p.m. Pacific. So if he's not in by Wednesday, then there's like a real fucking problem happening. Until then, I'm not gonna quite panic just yet. If he's not in by Wednesday morning, though, sound the fucking alarm, ring the cowbells, all of it, man. Like like a red alert for all you trekkers out there, man. Like,
don't you think this is going to these types of situation like Bosa? I mean, he's going to be getting paid like a quarterback almost,
almost, yeah.
And in a salary cap that is catered around the quarterback, majority of rosters, if you're a Super Bowl winning team, there's so much money going to the quarterback. And that's why the 49ers are in a really good spot, because their quarterback is so young. He's not on that big contract right now.
Also, their they just sent their most expensive quarterback out of town.
Right.
So, you 7th round rookie, and then you have Sam Darnold, and then you have Brandon Allen back there for whatever reason. So literally, you're paying fucking peanuts for your quarterback, and you're getting really excellent production, hopefully, out of Brock. So
I mean, he signed a 4-year, $3.7 million deal, so $934,000.
Yeah, yeah, not even making a full $1 million a year.
What I'm saying is too, though, is if there's more players like Bosa that sign free agent contracts, and you're a non-quarterback player, like, how does that team also pay a quarterback? They either have to have a rookie quarterback or a cheap quarterback who's good.
I mean, that's
otherwise, like, that team, you're never going to be able to bring in a quarterback via free agency or trade. It's going to have to be through the draft, which means,
unless you're Pat Mahomes,
that team's probably going to be terrible, because odds are you need a good quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, you have to have at least competency at quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have we seen it? Like, where we have a team that's, up here, all of a sudden their quarterback is off their rookie deal. They have to pay him, and this linebacker, this wide receiver, this running back, this corner are expendable because I had to pay my franchise quarterback.
And that's why Jared Goff is in Detroit right now.
Remember,
it was
Daniel,
time to pay him.
Khalil Mack. He was on the Raiders. He got traded. Everybody was mad. I was mad. I ain't gonna lie.
I was pissed.
But they traded him, and everybody said, the Bears, big boy franchise, they're so much better, and they didn't win anything.
Yeah,
and they could never figure out the quarterback. And they had that contract. It was hard to bring in offensive talent, especially the quarterback. They had to stick with what's his name.
Was it Cutler still at that time?
No, it was the guy that they just bailed on before Justin Fields, the white guy.
It's Trubisky.
Oh, Trubisky. That's right.
The backup in Pittsburgh now.
Dude.
The guy who can't get past Kenny Pickett on the depth chart. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot about Trubisky.
Hey, real quick though, I think Kenny Pickett is gonna be pretty good.
I don't, but okay.
I think he's gonna be pretty good.
We'll see.
I mean,
okay. Any last points?
I was gonna say Tomlin rarely misses on, on development, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Steelers.
If Kenny Pickett ends up being something, it'll be because of excellent development by the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
But you can only polish a turd so much. So, and on that note, I think it's probably about time we start making some picks for this coming NFL season. So what we're gonna do here is I just want your division winners. I want your wild card for both the AFC and the NFC, and then we're just gonna pick Super Bowl champs and who they're playing in the Super Bowl. So So that's who we're gonna go with, and I guess we'll take turns. I have Tyler's guesses already on my spreadsheet.
Ooh, I want to hear these.
I will announce Tyler's as well. Me and Tyler actually have quite a bit of overlap. It's not quite the same, but there are similarities to be sure.
Do you both have the Raiders for the Super Bowl? Because if not, you guys are wrong.
Okay, I can be wrong. That's fine.
Are you going to screen share it this time or no?
No, I'm not. No, I'm just going to type it in here, and we can we can put it up on social media after the fact. I just want to get going. So let's start. How about let's start in the AFC and let's go AFC North. Sam, Daniel, who do you got?
Sam, go for it.
Man. Well, who did you guys pick?
All right, fine. I'll go first. That's fine. I picked the Bengals to win again. Tyler also picked the Bengals, so there's your rhyming right there. Daniel's,
Cincy.
You got Cincy as well. All right.
Yeah, you can't argue with Joe Cool, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Until somebody snatches it. All right.
Yeah.
Bengals it is. All four of us are on board the Cincinnati train. All right, AFC South. This one's kind of interesting. Couple of real bad teams in there.
I'm ready.
Yeah, okay,
AFC
you are?
South?
Yeah, AFC South.
Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars,
Nice.
dude.
Yeah. Daniel, how about you?
I'm gonna make Pat McAfee proud. I think the Colts are gonna come out of that division.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anthony, I like Anthony Richardson, bro.
You're on the Anthony Richardson bandwagon. Okay. For sure. I'm sure there'll be plenty of room later in the season if it's actually happening, and I'll be happy to jump on at that point.
Oh, definitely.
All are welcome on any bandwagon. All right, so Tyler actually also picked the Jaguars, and so did I. So yeah, the 3 out of 4 of us have the Jaguars. Daniel's being a little fun and picking the Colts.
Yeah, why not?
Right? Yeah, sure. So for the AFC East, Tyler has the Bills. Sam, who do you got?
New York Jets.
You got the Jets. Okay. Daniel.
I got Miami.
And
Yeah.
I also have the Bills. So 3 different teams between the 4 of us. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's a fun division to watch.
Yeah.
So AFC West time. I picked the Chiefs. Tyler picked the Chiefs. Anybody going to pick the not Chiefs?
I got the Chiefs.
I reluctantly have the Chiefs.
Yeah. I thought that might happen. So, all right, now let's you'll just name off your 3 wild card teams. Tyler has the Jets, Raiders, and Ravens making the playoffs. I choose the Chargers, Jets, and Dolphins to make the playoffs as wild card teams. Sam, Daniel, who wants to go first?
Go for it, Sam.
I got the Bills as a wild card.
Uh-huh.
I got the Dolphins as another wild card.
Uh-huh.
And the Las Vegas Raiders as the
Okay.
3rd wild card.
All right. I don't blame you for doing it. Yeah.
I got the Bills coming in the wild card.
Uh-huh.
I actually have the Browns in the wild card.
Browns. Okay.
And the Las Vegas Raiders.
All right. We'll circle back to your AFC champion in a little bit. Let's get the NFC picked out first. So in the NFC, let's turn to the North. Tyler has the Vikings. I have the Lions as my division winner. I'm going with the Lions.
I actually have the Lions as well. I think they're going to surprise people this year. And I love Dan Campbell, bro.
They ended the year really well last year.
They ended it real good, man.
I got the Lions as well. I'm really high on the Lions.
All right. We got Tyler's the lone wolf with the Vikings. So in the South, both Tyler and I have the Saints. Sam, Daniel, who do we got?
I got the Saints.
New Orleans.
Everybody's on the Saints. All right. Saints. All right. In the East, I have the Eagles. Tyler, unsurprisingly, has the Eagles. Anybody want to pick the not Eagles?
Well, I don't know, man. The Eagles are 0-2 They're minus 15. It's the Eagles, man.
Yeah,
Eagles.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard to beat the Georgia defense, so I have to go with the Philadelphia Eagle Bulldogs.
Yep. Yeah. the Beagles.
The Beagles.
Yeah, the Beagles. Is that
The
what
Beagles.
that is?
Yeah, we'll go with the Beagles.
Yeah, the Beagles. All right. And unsurprisingly to all of you, I'm picking the 49ers. Last week, Tyler and I were very complimentary of each other's teams. He picked the 49ers as well. So anybody willing to not pick my team?
I got the 49ers.
I'm gonna surprise y'all. I got Seattle.
Okay. Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for wild card teams, Tyler has the Cowboys, Giants, and Lions. So he does still have them making the playoffs. I have the Vikings, Cowboys, and Seahawks making the playoffs. So there's the Seahawks showing up again. Sam, who are your wild card teams?
I got the Giants.
Uh-huh.
I got the Seattle Seahawks.
Uh-huh.
And the Dallas Cowboys going back to the East.
All right. And Daniel.
This one's a little tough. I mean, obviously the Niners, they get in the playoffs regardless.
Right.
And honestly, I don't see anybody else that sticks out besides the Cowboys and the Giants. Like, I have to agree with Sam on this one.
Cowboys and then Giants. All right. So now let's turn to our AFC champion. Who do you think is going to win the AFC and represent the AFC in the Super Bowl?
I got Cincy. I think Joe Burrow's going to figure it out, and I think he's going to lead it. He's going to go to the Super Bowl this year.
All right. And Sam?
This is the AFC Super Bowl pick?
AFC, who's going to the Super Bowl? Yeah.
New York Jets.
I think they're
On
getting
the
it done,
Rodgers
huh?
wagon, dude.
Oh, wow. Both Tyler and I ended up picking the Bills in that one. Sooner or later, that pick is going to be right.
Well, you're all wrong.
I personally have
happens.
Jets Bengals in the AFC Championship game. I just want to throw that out curveball out there.
That would be pure fucking chaos, and
if
it'd be a lot of fun.
If Sam's pick comes to fruition, bro, and it's the Jets, I want to throw that curveball in there.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, that would be wild if that happened. So your NFC champion, I have the 49ers. Tyler has the Eagles. Which way is it going to go, gentlemen?
The 49ers.
Nice.
Somebody watched Hard Knocks. Man, this one's always tough. I'm gonna make Tyler smile right now. I have to go with Philly, bro.
All right, Eagles getting to the Super Bowl again is your pick. All right, so just to recap, your in the Super Bowl, I have the Bills playing the 49ers. Tyler has the Bills playing the Eagles. Sam, you have the Jets and the 49ers playing each other. And Daniel, you have Bengals and Eagles. So who's winning that game? I, of course, am going to pick the 49ers. Why the fuck wouldn't I? Tyler, of course, is picking the Eagles in that game. He just says, just Daniel, my guy. And he says, dishonor on you, Sam. So Tyler's in the chat, even though he's not on today. So that's fun. We're keeping an eye on that. So Sam, who do you have winning the Super Bowl?
The Jets.
Holy shit.
Bruh.
The chaos, the pure fucking chaos that would happen.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Oh,
and I'm
Jesus.
one of them.
I love it.
Wow. Oh my God.
Aaron Rodgers with the defense, dude.
Aaron Rodgers playing the 49ers who passed on him and who keep beating him when he was in Green Bay.
Aaron Rodgers
finally gets it done with the Jets.
Aaron Rodgers with a
I would need my screaming pillow.
Defense.
I would need my screaming pillow on hand if that happens, man.
And who did they just added another weapon who's also like a veteran who's not done.
Dalvin
Yeah,
Cook.
Dalvin Cook.
It's not like he's done. He just
That's
as
a
a
very
running
crowded
back-
running back core though.
Yeah. Tyler
They got
wants
a
to know what's in
stable.
that beer.
ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca.
You
Good
got
call.
some?
That's a good call. Daniel, who do you have as your Super Bowl champion?
So my situation is Cincy and Philly, right?
Yep, that is correct.
I'm sorry, Tyler, but Cincy. I want to see Joe Burrow win a ring, bro.
Oh yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. That celebration would be legit.
Joe
for sure.
Burrow.
Him,
Brrr.
him,
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, all winning a ring, bro.
Yeah. Oh, keep mixing away from literally everybody because he'll probably fight somebody. Get himself suspended again. Jesus. All right, so that'll do it for our picks. We will post them on social media later, but just to recap, I'm picking my guys. Tyler's picking his guys. Sam is picking the Jets. Daniel's picking the Bengals to go all the way and win the whole
This on chat.
thing. Oh yeah. Okay, so we have completed the football portion of the podcast. It's time to bring it down, bring our moods down a little bit. The Oakland A's actually had a pretty good week, which is actually not what we really want for them, but that's okay. They end up going 2-1 against Kansas City, and then they split the series 2-2 at Chicago against the White Sox. This week they have 3 games at Seattle and 3 versus the LA Angels. They're currently 38 wins and 93 losses. Dead last in the American League, 2.5 games back of Kansas City right now. And the Giants, they had another bad week. They've fallen into 3rd in the NL West. They are 4th in the wild card standings, which means if the playoffs started, they do not make the playoffs as of today. They're a game and a half back of Arizona at the moment. They dropped 2 out of 3 against in Philly, and they come back home, play Atlanta, and drop 2 out of 3. They salvage on Sunday Night Baseball a win there. So they have 3 versus Cincinnati, 4 at San Diego. This was a really tough stretch of games for the Giants, and they went 5-10 in their last 15. That is not good for a team trying to make the playoffs. Sucks to not, it sucks right now to be a Giants fan a little bit. You're watching it all slip away. Welcome to our life as A's fans.
Yeah, I think we kind of called it, right? As we've been covering the Giants, we kind of said like at some point they're probably going to fall back to what statistics say, and I think they're closer to the team of what they were last year. And the 90+ win team was kind of the outlier.
Yeah, they went, what is that, 107? Was that how many wins they had in 2021? Yeah, it was.
I think you're
something
right.
ridiculous
Yeah,
like that.
It was something crazy.
Yeah, and then they were a 500 team last year, and I think south of 90, north of 80 is probably more what I expected from them. I think I said that right at the beginning of the year, and they're kind of trending that way right now. They were a lot higher up, and they just started falling back to earth a little bit.
I mean, it's kind of hard to win games when your last 4 series are against playoff caliber teams, and 2 of those series were against the Braves, which are the best offensive team in baseball.
Strider.
Dude, like you're not gonna win many games like that, bro. Like it's gonna be you're gonna have to grit and grind for those.
Yeah, this is a really tough stretch, but if you're gonna be in the playoffs, if you're gonna make noise in the playoffs, you got to at least get a few wins. Like if they came out of like this stretch, and also Cincinnati is like tied with them for 4th, so they're like in the hunt for wild card as well. So this is no slouch that they got coming into their house. If so like an 18 game stretch, including these 3 against Cincinnati, if they go, 9-9, 8-10, even, they'd have to basically sweep Cincinnati to get to 8-10 over the last 18 games.
Which is going to be kind of hard.
Well, I mean, they got swept by the A's in Oakland, but you got swept by mathematically the worst team in baseball. It's a Double-A team. Then they lose the series against the Angels, okay, in Anaheim. But then you come home and Bochy kicks your butt. You lose that.
You lose the series against the Rays.
Then you lose against the Rays, the Braves, who you're going to have to play. If you're going to win the World Series, you may have to get through the Rays. So, I mean, they are just...
Through the Braves, you mean?
Well, if they get to the World Series, they're going to have to play the Rays.
Maybe.
Potentially is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And everybody on the schedule right now is a playoff caliber team. So clearly your record of these past 15 games or 20 games or so, you're not good enough.
Yep.
You know,
And then
the roster is just not good enough. The sabermetrics and the whole, percentages and the money ball and all that stuff, it only gets you so far. You got to have players hit, you got to have players bunt and steal and play the game. And even in an analytic era, like the best teams are going to win.
Mm-hmm.
What Kansas City did was a extreme oddity.
Yeah.
And I mean,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and it's kind of hard to salvage your season. I mean, you're gonna pick up. You have to pick up wins against Colorado. I mean, those are foregone conclusions. But the fact that 2 of your last 3 series are against the Dodgers, it doesn't look well. Doesn't look good. Because let's face it, in the NL West, the Dodgers are one of the hottest teams in baseball.
Yeah. Speaking, another team that's actually been really hot, and I did want to bring this up. The Seattle Mariners are in first place in the AL West.
That's insane, bro.
Jesus, the 9-1 in their last 10 games. They've just been on fire. The Rangers they've gone 1-9. They've done literally the exact opposite. The Rangers are falling back to earth a little bit. The Astros are right there too. The Rangers and Astros are basically tied. The Astros have 2 more games played. They have 1 more win, 1 more loss. So Seattle just kind of came for them, and all of a sudden they're in front by half a game right now. Oh no, full game, excuse me. That's wild. Like, nobody really saw that coming. I think we were burying them.
We did.
And here they are, back from the dead. Good for them. Good for Seattle.
I think I picked the Astros to win the division, but I after seeing the season, I would not be surprised if Texas gets it back together and Bochy pulls them through this.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to see Seattle back in the playoffs, because that would be the first time in ages that I've seen Seattle in the playoffs. I think since maybe even since the Griffey years. Because
it was
Ichiro years too.
His
That's
first
right.
year.
His first year.
Ichiro's first year, they were pretty good, and they made the playoffs in 2021. I mean 2001. Excuse me.
Dude, that's a long time, like in a playoff drought.
Yeah, they made the playoffs last year, but then they got bounced quickly.
You're right.
Yeah. So if they make the playoffs in back-to-back years, that'll be the first time, and I don't fucking remember how long, man. Like, so. Good for them.
Still wild how quickly they turn that around.
I know. That's yeah, literally out of nowhere. They caught lightning in a bottle. Good for them.
I still can't believe the Cardinals dropped this badly this year.
Yeah, the Cardinals really shit the bed, man. That's so bad. The Padres also were a shocker. I think we all had them at least making the playoffs. These
but they're a weird team. I'm looking at their stuff right now. Like they put up runs. They got a plus 53, but they're only 61 and 70.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, it's just when you win the close games and then you lose the blowouts, I think is oh no, I got that backwards. You
win the
you
blowouts,
win big, and then you lose all the close games, and that's how that happens, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all the teams that have like large payrolls are struggling. It's the Padres, the Yankees, the Mets went on a fire sale at the trade deadline. Money doesn't buy you championships.
The Yankees lost 9 in a row or some.
Yeah, something like that.
They're dead last in their division.
They're also 2-8 in their last 10. I'm looking at it right now. The Orioles just being like basically maintaining if they win 1 more game, they clinch a winning season.
Yeah.
It's still fucking August, man. That's crazy to me. The Orioles literally are the definition of coming out of nowhere. They were not on anybody's radar. At least Seattle, we kind of had them on the radar because last year they did make the playoffs, and so I mean that doesn't really surprise me that they're doing well. it surprised me how they turned it around because they weren't doing well before. But Orioles, just going out front and fucking staying there. Good for them, man. Jesus. Okay. So that's enough praise for baseball. It's time to start raging. Sam.
Man, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Vince. Sorry.
Let's set the table. Fishface finally spoke to the media for the first time as an owner after 18 fucking years. He said that the sell shirts and the chants hurt his feelings. He gave 3 interviews in total, one to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, one to Raj Mathai at NBC 11.
Who went soft.
Yeah, he did go soft. And then ESPN kind of had a article as well, and pieced together some of the other stuff that other people said as well, along with Fisher. So table is set. Sam, you're hydrating real quick. Get your sip in there, because it's time to go off, my man. Let's go. Let's do this.
Anybody want some popcorn?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it just proves everything that we've been talking about. Like all of the stuff, the Harpo, that John Fisher just whined and complained and wouldn't shut the fuck up to just get whatever he wanted. We're just seeing it. Now he's just going to all the media outlets that these are the only ones that are going to listen to me and spin it my way. He's a crybaby child. It's like he's literally a child only. No, but it hurt my feelings that they wore this shirt. It hurt. Like literally sitting on a couch complaining about this. He's
fucking soft. He's soft as Charmin, man.
And then to not even go against a reporter that is going to have some pushback, that is going to have some follow-ups. Instead, you go to the toilet roll reporter who's advocating for you to go over there, and 2, Raj Mathai, who you're a local guy, went soft, dude.
Yeah,
you could have been the hero of the Bay.
He's not going to see Casey. He's not coming to Casey. Exactly. He wouldn't even he wouldn't even go to Brody, who works kind of for the team, but kind of not. I mean, but Brody would have actually asked some fairly pressing questions, I think.
If you're Raj Mathai, whatever equity you had with any Oakland fan is gone. You had the one shot to just one solid follow-up question, and you couldn't even do it. Not one. You went soft. So equity gone. I never seen a reporter who just went from a local news sports guy who just kind of covers the daily stuff to just people being pissed off at. That was the most softball interview ever. If you wanted to make a name for yourself, if you wanted to do something to push media forward or push the fandom forward or actually do something, you would do journalism some justice. Have some follow-up questions. Be prepared for the interview. Instead, you laid out his story. You went off of a script of questions that he approved. Come on, it's soft. Should be called out. It's weak.
Yeah, Casey Pratt really on his YouTube channel has really called out a lot of this.
Because know who I got respect for? Obviously Casey Pratt, but Larry Beal on ABC. He brings a smoke to John Fisher. He wouldn't have gone soft.
Mm-hmm. And that's why they didn't get the interview, man.
Right.
That's why they didn't get the interview. He
John
found
Fisher's
something
chicken
comfortable.
Shit.
Yeah,
chicken shit.
He found something comfortable, and he was able to get his narrative out. And I mean, I know we've said this 1,000 times, but I do want to reiterate that I think the April 19th nighttime announcement came because Oakland was getting way too close to actually being able to pull it off. And so then he had to pull the ripcord when they were about to, have that summit and try to hammer out the last little bit of details. Oakland is now acquired, was it 420 something million in infrastructure funding? And they've got a little bit more coming on the way. They're going to have about $500 million in infrastructure going into Jack London Square, and it's all grants. It's not putting the budget at risk for the city. This is all stuff that is going to get spent at Jack London Square
Regardless.
and Howard Terminal anyway.
Regardless.
So it's a win-win for the city at this point. If the owners decide to like, you know, veto the move and he has to end up selling, that money's all there already. Like the deal is basically in place at this point. They're about $36 million short according to Brody Brazil's math.
How much?
On his channel? 36 million. Like 36 million for a billionaire, you know, a multi-billionaire, if you actually are a billionaire, not just family is a billionaire, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's the other thing, Vince. He was in the interview, and when asked about financing the stadium and how you're going to pay for it and blah 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 blah, it was always my family, me and my family. So I mean,
yeah, Doris, go get your fucking kid.
yeah, it's ridiculous, man. Oakland, you don't, you oh, it's interesting, right? Like the people who are screaming the loudest that Oakland fails and can't get it done. And in some regards, I'm one of those people, you know, and there's a lot of things that I think the city needs to do better at, but that would be a different show. It's a sports show. They lined up the money. They did their part.
Oakland,
you don't have to
is,
like how they did it or the timeline of it, but the money is there.
Yeah. In the end, the A's are not going to be in Oakland anymore because John Fisher didn't want the A's to be in Oakland anymore.
Right.
We said it a year ago. If this falls flat because the city of Oakland kept, every time they put up an obstacle, the city kept knocking it down using creative methods without putting the budget at risk. And they kept doing it over and over every time. And it got to the point where John Fisher was like, oh shit, I'm going to have to actually build this, you know, $12 billion, whatever it was.
I think this is all a game
complex.
of $1 billion chicken. It was all about just who's going to abort, and Fisher aborted because I think he saw exactly what you're saying, Vince, is they were going to approve all of this. They were ready to execute a binding agreement. They were ready to break ground and yada, yada, yada. And he backed out because he's like, wait a minute. That means I'm going to have to come up with X amount of millions of dollars and I don't have it. You know, so I think he aborted. He pulled the ripcord.
And that's why he's taking a really shitty deal in Las Vegas. Because
you don't own the land. You don't own the stadium.
He can get it done. He can get that project done in Vegas. He's capable of that. He's not capable of the deal that he was trying to put in at Howard Terminal. And it's the deal that I know somebody like maybe Joe Lacob is capable of getting done. And also, you don't have to build it all at once either. You could build the fucking stadium and then, you know, a year later build, you know, a couple extra things and then build some apartments like 3 years down the road. It doesn't have to all be done immediately.
Yeah, the Giants are still developing.
Exactly. The Giants are still fucking developing.
Padres are too, dude. I mean, the way that Petco Park is set up, it's like you have the Gaslamp district like right there. You have all the hotels and even like some condos that overlook the outfield, but like it's all still in development. Like they're still kind of like dwindling around over there, dude.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I was there was about 5 years ago, and I mean it's happening. There's a lot of good shit happening there.
Dope.
But they are still, you know, developing it even more. They're still putting money into it. And
that's where we met Daniel.
Yeah. That's where you guys met Daniel. I still haven't actually officially in person, but yeah.
Yeah, that's where we all met.
Yeah,
it was dope, bro. Like, and I was even saying, dude, like I honestly like I love Dodger Stadium. I hate the history of it and what happened and how, you know, my people were pushed out. But I love where Dodger Stadium is at. I just wish that we could build, you know, restaurants, townhomes, things like around the stadium, kind of similar.
Develop the area.
Yeah, develop the area, kind of similar to how, you know, other stadiums have developed. But, you know, I understand why you can't realistically do it because it's in a residential area. But, you know,
I mean, this is a problem that is not just John Fisher. We've been saying it on this show for a long, long, long time. And even in various versions of this show, Vince, where, you know, we've been saying, you know, a third of the league are kind of like John Fisher's. Like we went down the list multiple times. You know, we're seeing it now with Baltimore. They're the best team in the American League, and the owner can't get out of his own way and, won't sign a lease with the city of Baltimore to stay in Camden Yards. Instead, he's trying to leverage to take the stadium down and develop everything around it. He wants to rebuild Camden Yards. And there's talk that he's going to go to Nashville, and now the Milwaukee Brewers owner is upset with his stadium, and he wants upgrades.
The
Yeah,
Colorado
so-
Rockies owner
yeah,
too. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
there's
it's
there's
never ending.
several teams now. I mean, Brody put a video up less than a week ago about like he literally went through 8 different teams and how they have in the last year threatened or hinted or even sideways glanced at possible relocation. You have the White Sox, you have the Brewers, even the fucking Orioles, who are, like we just talked about how good they've been, but their ownership is trash. The Angels have their problems in Anaheim, and Kansas City's looking to build a new complex in downtown. Arizona needs a new stadium. Apparently their roof is leaking right on top of the mound. That's not good. And of course the Tampa Bay Rays, who seem to always be forgotten about because the A's keep taking the heat.
Right.
But like Tampa Bay is in just as bad of shape stadium wise as the A's. But they keep they're a little bit under the radar right now because John Fisher is a fucker.
As those owners in Baltimore and Kansas City and Tampa Bay and whatever, it's the A's situation is bringing attention to those things, and this sell the team movement and what's going on in Oakland is growing into other fan bases, and it's the toothpaste out of the tube, and fans are now waking up to the financials of baseball. And I don't see this problem going away. Like, I think it's going to get larger. The politicians are still working on this the Moneyball Act, so that MLB baseball could potentially lose their antitrust law protection. They said that they needed this antitrust so that they wouldn't move, and now they're threatening moves. So there's potentially a lot changing in the federal laws as well. But no city should be held hostage to choose education, hospitals, police, city infrastructure to keep a team. The city of Oakland has done more than enough to keep the A's in Oakland, and John Fisher needs to do his part. This is the deal in sight he wanted. If you can't write the check, okay, cool. You write the check that you can write, and then we'll scale it down that's proportionate to that check. I mean, it's that simple. But instead, like Vince said, he's choosing to take a worse deal to save face because he doesn't want to spend a dime. That's the thing, is that he doesn't want to spend a dime. He wants the city to build everything. That's what he wants. He doesn't want to spend not one penny on building this thing. And we know they didn't lose money last season. They made money. We saw the Forbes report. We saw all of that stuff. So he's lying. He's lying to you.
Kind of like how, and I remember I made this point like when I first started like coming around, kind of how you're able to fire a coach for doing a bad job, fire a GM, a VP, scout. There should be something in place that says if your team is not successful after X amount of years, you should be forced to sell the team. And I understand there's not a lot of billionaires out there who are willing to buy a franchise. I completely get it. But the fact that these guys use professional sports as like kind of like as money laundering in a sense, where they're just like using it as their own personal ATM, it does a disservice to the sport and it does a disservice to the fan base. And guys like John Fisher shouldn't have been allowed to own a team to begin with. That's in hindsight. Nobody knew that John Fisher would be like this. But the fact that you guys are paying the price for a shoddy owner it's bullshit, plain and simple.
I mean, I think the league. I don't know. I think you're right. We couldn't predict the future, but I don't think they cared. I just if having John Fisher in the league, a third of them are the same.
Yep.
A third of a third of them are exactly like John Fisher. They don't want to spend a dime. Pittsburgh, the city of Pittsburgh helped him build that stadium, and he don't spend a dime.
I mean, Dodger fans, we're not exempt from this. We went through this shit with Frank McCourt.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting. What's now? I think the other thing is, I do think MLB is going to approve their relocation to Las Vegas. But at the same time, if the A's go to Las Vegas, I don't think any team is going to threaten. They're not going to leverage. The Royals aren't going to say, well, fine, we're going to Oakland, because one, I think the fan base in Oakland would be so scorned that we wouldn't want to relocate a team. I think the voice would be so loud that we do not want to relocate a team. If MLB is coming back to Oakland, it's going to be because it's an expansion team. Like, it's a brand new team,
clean slate,
clean.
I'd rather have no history than somebody else's history at this point.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think if teams start relocating again, I don't think this is like the back in the day when the A's and Giants started coming out here in the 60s and whatnot. I think it's different. The media era, the internet era, it's totally different. And people talk about these things. People have friends and family and relationships in other cities. I think they see how deep these wounds are that relocation causes. So I just don't see MLB moving 2, 3, 4, 5 franchises and then adding 2 more.
I mean, this would be the first team to move since the Expos to Washington.
Yep. And then before that, it was 1971. So it's been more than 50 years. You've had one relo.
Yeah,
and 71 was the Senators becoming the Rangers.
Yeah, that's exactly who that was.
Yeah,
and that Senators team existed because 10 years beforehand, the first Senators team moved to Minnesota to become the Twins, and then they got an expansion team right away after that. And so then 10 years later, Washington lost 2 teams in a decade, man. That's rough. And yeah, I'm just it's so frustrating.
Just to put a final touch on this A's and Fisher thing, there is some more information going around that the A's want to stay in Oakland, and now Shang Tao is saying, well, yeah, you could stay in Oakland as long as when you leave, the A's name and legacy and all of that stuff stays in Oakland.
Oh, I like that.
So
and that would fast track an expansion owner as well.
Yeah, I think if the A's stuff stayed in Oakland, a new owner would an expansion ball club. And I honestly, at this point, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Like,
and
you don't even build John Fisher. Just go take your expansion team, and then we'll get the new A's.
Yeah, in all honesty, like you've got a plan in place basically at Howard Terminal, or if you don't like that, the current site, if you want to build just a stadium, that one exists too. There's still plenty of room to build there as well. So I mean.
That kind of sounds like what happened in the NBA, how like the Hornets went to New Orleans and then the Charlotte Bobcats rebranded back to the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah. There was that one year where it was the Bobcats and the Pelicans, and because they changed their name to the Pelicans. They didn't want to like have the Hornets name like so quickly, over. They wanted to give a little bit of a cushion, but yeah,
I think that'll work out. Bye, John Fisher. I think it's fuck John Fisher o'clock, guys.
Yeah, I think so. It's right around fuck John Fisher o'clock.
Yeah.
That means it's time to move on to something else before our heads explode.
That's true. Yeah, let's go.
So let's just talk real quick. The Women's World Cup, Spain won it. They played well, but the chaos that has ensued since There was the president, I think, of Spain's like federation. He basically he assaulted one of his players. He kissed her and she didn't want it, and now like his mom is on a hunger strike in a church because they're treating my baby bad. And God, I get to do that voice twice in one episode, which is not a lot, but it's more often than I thought it would be.
What is it with rich entitled people lately?
I don't know, man. It's they've been untouchable for ever, and now all of a sudden people are saying, hey, maybe don't assault people, especially on camera on a stage where the entire fucking world is watching.
Don't assault people, period. Like,
yeah, well, period, but like especially if there's a camera and then you're gonna deny anything bad happened. Like, come on, dude.
First he tried to flip the narrative to try to say that it was consensual, and I'm like, really? Because from her reaction, that didn't look consensual at all, my dude.
Yeah, exactly. We have that on camera. We have interviews after the fact. Jenny Hermosa is her name, by the way, too. She's the victim here, and fuck that guy. So and his mom like wailing in a church, like locking herself in a church. It's come on. If you're gonna be in a church, pray for something that actually matters. I don't know, world peace, end hunger. I don't know, something. Do something actually useful with your time in there instead of complaining that your son's being treated unfairly because he assaulted a woman on stage.
I don't want to open up that can of worms, so I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So the Earthquakes lost 3-0 at Sporting Kansas City. They're currently 9 wins, 8 losses, 8 draws. They're 6th in the Western Conference. They got 2 games this week. On Wednesday against the Galaxy, on Saturday against Minnesota. So a chance for a lot of points on the board. See how it goes. Wrexham actually had a draw at Barrow. That was a 1-1 draw. They are currently in 16th place, well above the line. Maybe need to start scoring some more goals and get some wins on the board. That'll be very beneficial. Keep them in EFL 2 going forward.
Something unrelated. LAFC plays their first game against Inter Miami.
Ooh, yeah. So we got Messi coming to town. A little Messi.
Yeah. And you want to know how much the cheapest tickets are going for?
I'm going to say 650.
Sam? Oh.
850.
Cheapest I saw were for 585.
585. Okay.
And the nosebleeds.
Yeah. That makes sense. That tracks. Messi basically scores every time, every game. Dude. Miami is in second to last place because they won their first MLS game since he showed up. They won that the Leagues Cup, and now they've Tyler guessed 1,500. Sorry, but a little too high. But for good seats, it's going to be at least 1,500 for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so he's I'm wondering if he got there in time to get Miami into the playoffs. They just have to get to the 9 seed. After that, who knows what happens. If Messi's able to take the literal bottom dweller and get them into the MLS Cup playoffs, who knows what happens then at that point. Like, all bets are off.
Yeah, 11 goals in 9 games. That's not bad, man.
Yeah.
They are gonna miss him for 3 games though, because I think he goes on international duty.
Yeah.
So
can they survive the 3 games without him is the question.
Dun, dun, dun.
Based on the fact that they were in dead fucking last when he joined the team, I'm gonna say they probably don't survive those 3 games without him. Can they? I mean, but they also had like 2 games in hand on everybody else in the league, so there's extra games to be played for Miami, and we'll see if they can turn it around. If there's enough time for them to get into the playoffs. That's the real question I have is there enough time? And I think there might be. It'll be close. But
so I just rechecked the ticket section just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
The cheapest now is 650.
Oh, on the nose. Yes. I'm going to go play the lotto.
Best of luck to you. May the odds forever be in your favor.
It's the same idea, right? Yeah. Getting Messi tickets is like playing the lotto at this point. All right, let's get disappointed one more time. the headline of this is RIP Pac-12. We're gonna talk about the Pac-12 just a little bit, just dive in real quick. The Big 12 has said that they're interested in adding the 4 remaining Pac-12 schools if the ACC plan falls through. And speaking of which, the ACC is expected to vote soon, maybe as soon as tonight, on whether to invite Cal, Stanford, and SMU to join the ACC. Part of that is like ESPN contracts. They have to have at least 15 teams in the ACC, and there's like some schools that are possibly leaving. And it sounds like one of the schools maybe is changing their mind on whether to allow them in or not. And so that's why the vote's actually happening. So if the vote actually happens, they'll pass, and Stanford and Cal will be part of the Atlantic Coast Conference. So that pisses me off, but
Pac-12 did it to itself, dude.
yeah,
Like,
Pac-12 really shit the bed, and at this point, I don't, it's just you're trying to make the best of a bad situation. Find the right turd to polish at this point to bring back in a little callback there for you.
that's a euphemism.
Yeah. So it ends up being all about money, and if Stanford and Cal can remain, power conference schools, even if their football teams are shit, I guess more money to them and whatever. I'm finding it hard to really spin this positively. It's just it's shit for the student athletes, man. I just hate the whole situation. I hate it. Yeah, I didn't do it. Yeah.
Just the travel itself is going to be a pain in the ass, dude, because having to go from coast to coast, it's not easy, bro.
No,
I mean,
6-hour flights, man.
I mean, I fucking hate 6-hour flights. I hated my flight from LA to, where did I go? To Indiana. I mean, that was like a 4-hour flight, and I was hating life. I mean, I could just imagine,
thereabouts, yeah.
Like, I could just imagine a student athlete having to go cross country for a game, dude. So
audit tests in like some gym, before you go out, to play fucking basketball too. Like it's not just football.
It's everything
affected. It's literally every sport.
It's basketball. It's women's volleyball. It's softball. It's baseball. It's everything.
Water polo.
I think too now that with the football side, there's just so much money in these divisions and super conferences and bowl games, and there's billions of dollars being generated, and it's clearly the minor league system of the NFL.
Yeah.
And now Harbaugh's out here talking about change the rules where players are getting paid and being broke off the equity in the football program. So it's, I don't know, man. It's just college football has just killed itself in a way. Like it's bigger than ever, but then it's also like it's a pro league, semi-pro league.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, there was always talks about colleges that were thinking about breaking away from the NCAA and like creating their own super conference. And I remember, UCLA, SC, Texas, Bama, Auburn, LSU, Michigan State, Ohio State, like all these big schools were thinking about coming together. And now we're kind of seeing like this remnant of it. And the only reason I think the NCAA is still like governing it, so to speak, is because the likeness and the NIL deals that are going through now.
Yeah.
All right. So that was a bummer note to end the show on. You guys have anything else to add, or are we all set for today?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining. It's great to do the show. Preseason is over. Real football is next.
That's right. Let's get excited. Yay, football. Yeah, C. Give me a C. Give me a T. Give me an E. What is? Oh shit! I did it again. I made myself sad. Okay. All right, Daniel. Thanks for hopping on with us again today. Tyler is about to get married in a few days, and so he's in the throes of last minute planning. So congratulations, Tyler. Looking forward to the big day. So good for you. Yeah, love you, bud.
Congrats, T.
All right. So on that note, you're listening to the SVT podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and hit the bell to get alerts when we go live. Follow us on Instagram and X at SVT Sports Pod. At SVT Sports Pod. I hated myself for saying that. Slide into our DMs. We would love to interact with you.